Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We're back from trying to stop Cthulhu from waking up last week in Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu, so this week we're going to finish Pandemic Month by venturing somewhere else cold and desolate to try to stop a horde of undead from overwhelming the World of Warcraft. Today we're playing World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King in the Pandemic system. As you might recall from our previous playthroughs, our goal is to stop the Lich King by completing 3 quests around Northrend, and then the final quest in Icecrown Citadel, which I'll be abbreviating as ICC from this point forward. The Scourge will be giving us a hard time as usual in this game, and the Lich King will also be making our lives personally miserable by increasing the damage we take while questing or fighting in Northrend. We do have a little bit of setup to finish in that direction, but before we jump into it, let's work our way to the board and go meet our heroes. Our first character today will be Thrall, War Chief of the Horde at the time of Wrath of the Lich King. There's his mini, we'll move that over to the board once we finish going through him. Thrall, War Chief of the Horde, his quote, "I live and die for the Horde." 7 health. And then his special abilities are Chain Lightning. As an action, we can choose 3 connected spaces, including his. For each, roll 1 die and remove 1 ghoul per fist from that space, limit once per turn. And I am the War Chief. When a hero in your region quests, you can contribute 1 card, even if you're not on the quest space. I'll explain more about how that will help us out later on once we get into the game, but let's go ahead and look at his backstory on the back. Thrall is the War Chief of the Horde, and a living legend who freed his people from captivity and led them to honor and victory. With the mighty Doomhammer in hand, he channels the fury of the elements against the enemies of his people. The Lich King's attacks on the Horde will not go unpunished, and Thrall has taken a personal hand in ensuring Arthas' defeat. And he starts at Warsong Hold, so we'll bring him down there, and I'll point him out when we move over to the board. But that will do it for Thrall. Now let's go meet our second hero. Our second hero is Varian Wrynn, King of Stormwind. There's his mini. We'll move him over to the board in a second. Yep. Bring that back on 7 health for Varian. Take a look at his card. Let my enemies beware. His first special ability is Whirlwind. When you fight, you may reroll 1 die. And for the Alliance, free action, move any number of ghouls from connected spaces to yours. Limit once per turn, but we can't cause our space to have more than 3 ghouls. Which would be bad anyway, because 4 would trigger, I believe, what is it called in this game? 4 is that, oh, that's an overrun, that's what it is. We're getting overrun with the Scourge. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, so that's his special abilities. Now the back of his card. He'll start in Valgard, and then his backstory. Recently returned after years of exile, Varian Wrynn has reclaimed his place as King of Stormwind and High King of the Alliance. Though he sees the Horde as enemies, he has focused his strength on defeating the Scourge. Varian has taken personal command of the Alliance forces in Northrend, determined to repay the Lich King tenfold for his incursions. So we'll put him back down. He starts in Valgard, which once again we'll point out as we move over there. But we have one more hero that we have to meet in the solo game. Our last hero in this game for today is Tirion Fordring, the High Lord of the Argent Council. There is Tyrion's mini. He's got 8 health, as you can see here. His quote, "Put your faith in the light." Special abilities, Ashbringer. When you fight, you may treat any number of shields as fists instead, or press forward. As an action, move another hero up to 2 spaces. And we'll flip his card over. He starts up at the Breach. And High Lord of the Argent Crusade, Tirion Fordring is the leader of a force of paladins united against the Scourge. Tirion wields the legendary sword Ashbringer, a weapon famed for its power to destroy the undead. Unbound by allegiances to the factions of Azeroth, Tyrion is utterly committed to the destruction of the Lich King. Alright, so Tyrion will move over to the breach. And then in the solo game, unlike in the others, we actually have one hand of cards that's shared between all three heroes. And they'll use these to contribute to the quests on the board. So when a hero in Thrall's region quests, we'll be able to contribute 2 cards to that quest. So first card up in the hand is a heal. As a free action, we can discard this, so any hero on your space can rest and heal +1. And this you can play on a quest space. Normally you wouldn't be able to rest on a quest space. So this is a way to heal when you're stuck there. Second card up is a defend, which we can discard to prevent 2 damage to any hero on your space. Third up is a travel. As a free action, we can move a hero up to 2 spaces, obviously discarding the card. And another heal. So we'll put that there. And those will be shared between the 3 heroes. Speaking of our heroes, I think we've met all of our heroes, so now we can move over to the board and finish up setup. We'll come back to this horde of enemies that's out here in a second, but first we need to place our place our quest. So you can see each region is color-coded. You can see each region is color-coded with a space for the Lich King to go. There's the red one, purple, and green is all the way up here. So we'll go ahead and place our quests first. We won't know the reward until we complete the quest, so our red wheat region quest is taking us to the Nexus with Malygos as supposedly our final boss. I suppose in the group of instances he's probably the ultimate boss. The mighty dragon Malygos has launched a war to purge the world of mortal spellcasters. You'll take 3 damage back from the quest. So that will go on the Nexus, and our progress marker will go on the first space. Looking in the purple region, we find Utgard Keep with King Imran as the final boss, taking 2 damage back. After this quest is completed, spawn an abomination on this space, which is actually right next to Varian. Which reminds me, let me point everybody out before we reveal the green region quest. Thrall's over here in Warsong Hold, who likewise has easy access to the Nexus. We've got Varian down here at Valgard, who's got easy access to Utgard Keep. And Tyrion's up here at the Breach, who might have easy access to his quest as well, but it would have to be at the, I think it's the Argent Tournament is the one that would give him the easiest access to his quest. But let's see where the green region quest is. It's Ulduar, which isn't terrible for him. So Yogg Saron's the final boss here. During quest actions here, cancel 1 rolled fist. 2 damage to get through that. So that will go up there. The quest marker will go there. The progression marker goes on the start of the quest, and then the actual token goes to Ulduar. So now we've got our quest set up. Spawn the enemies. So that's where these are going to come in. So we're going to get... So the first card we draw is going to get 3 ghouls and the Lich King in that region. So let's see where this one's taking us. Oop, we got to flip it that way. Dalaran, oh joy. Dalaran gets 3 ghouls right off the bat. And the Lich King goes up to the green region space. And then this next card is going to be another 3 ghouls as well. Temple of Storms gets 3 ghouls. So we might need to send Tyrion to babysit right away. But the next 3 cards we draw are going to get 2 ghouls each. So first space up for that. Shadow Vault gets 2 ghouls. Wow, Tyrion is just starting off surrounded by ghouls. Next up, Vengeance Landing gets 2 ghouls. Something for Varian to think about. And Valgard gets 2 ghouls. So actually right on top of Varian. Which means sending him after ghouls right away might not be a terrible idea. But We draw 3 more cards. They each get 1 ghoul. Ajol Narub gets a ghoul. Draktheron Keep gets a ghoul, which there's one there already. And Vault of Archivon gets a ghoul, so that goes there. I'm just going to run through everything one more time. Went through the heroes, dealt out the hand, hero deck's built. Okay, with that, we're all set. It doesn't look like the base for ICC is going to be causing too many problems as far as seeing everything. But we're all ready to get into this game, so let's jump down and see what Thrall's doing. With no immediate pressing need for ghouls in the area, and Thrall is basically away from everything right now. Oh, one more card actually, I lied. We do need to spawn a starting abomination. So we do need to spawn this abomination, and it will be going to River's Heart. That will need 3 damage to take out, which... Unfortunately, we are minus fight cards right now, so taking that out is going to be a bit of a problem. Let's see. So it'll move. It'll move on, unless we go. Move quest, move. Either way, it's still going to take 2 turns to get to Thrall. So yeah, I think we'll get us a little bit of a start on the quest. So action 1, he'll move up to the Nexus. Action 2, we'll see if we can fit this dice tower and shot, but my expectation is that I'm going to need the smaller dice tower. That'll fit for now. So we'll grab the 2 dice here. We want to see a lot of fists here. And we can start, well, let's see where we end up before I decide what card I'm going to play to progress the quest. Alright, that's 2 fists, so either way, at either spot when I play the travel card, or when I commit the travel card, I'll still only advance 3. So we'll advance 1, 2, 3 on that. Then I'll toss... actually, we can just take the 3 damage right now. So Thrall... I'll just show this. Thrall will be going from 7 to 4. You take the quest damage every time you quest there. Then we'll play the travel card so Thrall can actually move 2 spaces away. I'm going to get him a little bit further away, hopefully dig for another... hopefully dig for a fight card. So this is actually a free action, which means we'll move him to Valiant's Keep. Yeah, I kind of want to get him away from that abomination right now. So I think we'll go action 3 to Ajol Narub, action 4 up to the Wrathgate. That way what I can do here is on a connecting... Well, what I might even be able to do is I can potentially... Let me zoom out just a little... Actually, yeah, let's zoom out a bit so I can show you what I'm thinking I might be able to do here. Potentially over the next couple of turns, I can pick... What did I pick? 3 connected spaces. So I could potentially do, over their next 2 turns, is have Thrall and Tyrion trade places, and then Thrall could probably try to chain lightning down some of this disaster of spaces. But that's me getting a little bit ahead of myself there. So we need 2 cards from the player deck. So first card we find is another defend, which we can use, which is another 2 defend card. And another defend. So we've got all the defense in the world, but we need more attack. So 2 cards from the Scourge deck, which get ghouls. So card 1 Let me turn this light. There we are. Does not want to focus today. There we go. Alright, Warsong Hold gets a ghoul. As does the Nexus. So right on top of the quest. And now we have to activate Abominations. So we move the Abomination, I believe it's one space toward a hero. Right? I just want to double check that. Yes, one space toward the closest hero, then one damage to each hero on its space. So the Abomination is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. It's going after Thrall. So we'll move the Abomination to the Vault of Archivon. And that's finally it for Thrall. Let's move down and see what Varian's doing. As a free action, Varian is going to pull a ghoul from Vengeance Landing down to Valgard. And then action 1 will need the Dice Tower and Shot. It is not wanting to come off. It's not wanting to come over properly. Alright, so action 1, Varian is going to fight. And with his Whirlwind, he can re-roll 1 die. He'll re-roll the shield, the one that only had a shield. I don't mind the fist and the shield so much because I can at least prevent 1 damage coming back in, but I'd like to take at least another one of these ghouls out. Alright, so that's 2, which actually that works. So we'll take 2 ghouls out, and then the shield blocks the 3rd damage that we would have taken. Okay, so that's only a once per turn. Good to know. Action 2 will bring Varian over to Utgard Keep. Action 3 will quest. Bring the Dice Tower right back into Shot. I don't like covering the quest with that, but I'm probably going to switch over to the smaller tower pretty soon here. Just because this thing is very imposing on a game this size. That's actually 3, so we get 3 fists there. Let's see. We'll chip in. We'll use the defend. We'll use a defend first to move down, and then we'll take the 3 fists. 1, 2, 3, and then Varian will take 2 damage back from that. So he will go from 7 to 5. Let's see, action 3 will be to quest again, and I think I am going to switch to the smaller dice tower here. Because as much as I like that tower, it's too imposing. So we'll bring the smaller tower back in Shot. Action 3 is going to be to quest again, like I said. That's another 2, and since we're minus a fight card, I'll just move the 2, and I'll take another 2 damage back, so that'll bring Varian from 5 come on. Does not want to focus for me. There we go. To 3. And then action 4, Varian's not really in any danger right now. The Abomination's going after Thrall to begin with. So I think he's just going to quest again. As a free action, if we really need to, we can go ahead and heal. Because remember, if we play a heal card to do it, we can rest, whereas normally we wouldn't be able to rest. Alright, so that's 3. That's actually 2, and we'll contribute a heal to it. So we'll advance 1, 2, 3. Because of the shield, Varian only takes 1 damage. That does block quest damage as well. At least I believe it does. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure the shield blocks quest damage, though. Yes, okay. The shield does block quest damage. I thought it did, but I wanted to make sure. So Varian will only go down to 2. Alright, then that's it for Varian. I'm not going to worry about healing just yet, because he's not in any real danger right now, unless something crazy happens, like we get a Scourge rises and spawn an Abomination right on top of him. But given that, I think I will actually go ahead and use one of my heals. So that means I'll roll the dice and I'll heal 1 per fist plus 1. That's a 3 plus 1 from the heal is 4. So Varian actually goes from 2 back up to 6. Then the heal is discarded. We'll get that out of shot, and we need 2 cards from the player deck. So first up is a fight that we've been needing for a while, which we can use this to get 2 plus 2 fists to any fight on your space. That may be something Thrall's eyeing up for the Abomination, and another defend, which could be something else Thrall ends up using. But we need 2 cards from the Scourge deck, so first up we find Naxxramas gets a ghoul, as does Utgard Keep right on top of Varian. That thing will probably have to go if Varian's going to keep questing there, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there. Let's adjust the camera and go over to Tyrion. Tyrion is surrounded by ghouls right now, and if he tries to do anything with them, he'll end up taking damage from the Lich King as well, but I think we still have to bite the bullet on this one. So I think we do action 1, fight 3. Okay, that won't work. The idea I was going to have was Tyrion moves up, say, to, what is that? The Temple of Storms, fights there, then move, but that's 4 actions already. He won't have another action to fight in Dalaran with. Which, actually, we might not care about that. Because Thrall can probably still Chain Lightning on Dalaran. So yeah, I think we just send Tyrion for action 1 up to the Temple of Storms. Action 2, he'll fight. Bring the dice tower into shot there. See if we can zoom in just a touch on Tyrion. There we are. And remember, because of Ashbringer, we can substitute any number of shields as fists. Let's use the shield as a fist. So we'll take 2 of them out, and Tyrion will take 2 damage. 1 from the ghoul that's still there, and 1 from the Lich King. So Tyrion will go from 8 to 6. That's 2 actions for Tyrion. What are 3 and 4? I don't need to press forward, and I can only use that on other characters. I don't need to press forward right now on Thrall, because he's actually in pretty good position, and I like where Varian is right now. In fact, he could even whirlwind down in Utgard Keep and take the ghouls out there. So I think I go... I can't go 3-4 to try to draw the ghoul off, because the ghoul is going to be coming in the same direction either way. Do I just stick with my original plan and go... Actually, I think we can just go 3-4 I don't want to go too far from Ulduar, though. I do want to do some questing at some point, but I want the Lich King to move first. Because he's already going to be dealing 2 damage to begin with, and that Ulduar quest is going to be hard enough, especially when we cancel a rolled fist on every quest action there. So I think we just go... I guess we just go... Do we just go 3 quest 4 anyway? I think we do, actually. So not Varian. I keep getting the 2 mixed up. Tyrion will move over to Ulduar for Action 3, and then Action 4 he'll quest. So we'll be relying primarily on cards to get our questing done in Ulduar. There's the Dice Tower. Alright, so we do cancel 1 of the fists, so we'll cancel that. And we don't have a travel, so we just advance 2. 1, 2. And then Tyrion will actually take 3 damage because of the Lich King being there. So he will go down to 3. Alright, then that will be it for Tyrion's turn. We'll get the Dice Tower out of shot, and then we'll get 2 cards from the player deck. So first up we'll find that the camera still doesn't want to focus. Another heal, which we've got heals for days, and a travel, which we could use here. I'll go ahead and discard a defense since I've got 4 of those already in hand right now. Then we need 2 cards from the player deck. First up we'll find, or from the Scourge deck, Thrim's End gets a ghoul right up here, as does Gundrak. So Gundrak is basically out in the middle of nowhere for us in this game. That's it for Tyrion. We'll go to Thrall next. Actually, after we move the Abomination to Ajol Narub. Action 1, 3 spaces including yours. So actually I think for Action 1, Thrall is going to move up to Dalaran. Then Action 2, I want to make sure Chain Lightning doesn't actually count as an attack. It's not an attack, okay. So for Action 2, he is going to Chain Lightning. We're going to choose Dalaran, Draktheron Keep, and Nax. So I believe that's 1. For each roll 1 die and remove a ghoul per fist. Okay, so we'll bring the Dice Tower in shot. Then we'll start with Dalaran. That's 1 fist, so we get to remove 1 ghoul. Then for Draktheron Keep, there's another 1, so that one goes away. And then down to Nax Ramus, right down here. Gets rid of another ghoul. So that was Action 2. As much as I don't like it, I think we have to toss the travel as a free action to get down to the Abomination, to get down to Ajol Narub. Then Action 3, this will be a quest. I'd like to see at least 2 fists. That way I can that way I can use the fight to get rid of everything there. But I'm prioritizing getting rid of the Abomination over the ghoul. 1, 2, 3. We'll take the abomination out and then take 1 back from the ghoul. So that will bring Thrall down to 3. Let's see, so action 1 was to move into Dalaran. Action 2, Chain Lightning. Free action to travel. Action 3. Action 4 will zoom out so I can have Thrall start working his way back to the Nexus. We'll bring him down to Valiant's Keep. Then we need 2 player cards from the deck, so we'll find another fight, which surprisingly we didn't need. We didn't need the +2 fight we had, and the Scourge Rises. So let's move back up top to resolve the Scourge Rises. I did forget to mention that our way of losing the game is if we advance all the way to the bottom of the despair track. But, and I'll explain how we advance down the despair track when they happen, but we'll resolve the Scourge Rises. So we'll start by advancing the Scourge marker, which right now doesn't change anything in terms of the number of cards we draw from the Scourge deck when we spawn ghouls, but the next time we advance it will. So now we draw the bottom card of the Scourge deck. This will get 3 ghouls, an abomination, and the Lich King in that region. So we find the Breach, Tyrion's starting space, gets 3 ghouls, an abomination, and the Lich King stays put. Then we'll shuffle the discard pile. And put it back on top. So the overrun in this game, or that's the overrun. Well, the overrun is the outbreak mechanic in this game. Actually, it's not the... I don't remember what it's called in base Pandemic, but basically the mechanic where you go to your limit, then you try to place over the limit and end up having bad things happen. I think Outbreak's actually the card-based mechanic. I don't remember what it's called in base Pandemic, but it's been sackings in Fall of Rome, blockades in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and Awakenings in Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu. So that's one thing I'm going to talk about in my end of March recap for Pandemic Month, is these games largely feel a little bit samey, and I think that's a double-edged sword. But like I said, more on that to come in the end of month recap. So now we draw with a fresh roster of cards. So we find, first up, the Temple of Storms gets a ghoul. So that brings it up to 2, as does the Vault of Archivon gets another ghoul. Alright, so an unfortunate turn of events with the Scourge Rises, but we can move down to Varian next at Utgard Keep. As a free action, Varian will start by pulling in the ghouls from Vengeance Landing and Valgard into Utgard Keep. Then for actual action 1, he will fight. Remember, when he fights, he can reroll 1 die because of Whirlwind. Actually, I think we're just going to toss the 1 fight card instead to take out everything here. I don't want to take a chance on a reroll trying to get greedy when I can make... I don't want to take a chance to get greedy and have to use a bigger fight card when I can just use the 1 and be sure I take everything out. Plus, I'll still have a fight card for when I get down into these later stages of the quest. Speaking of which, I don't know why I brought the Dice Tower out of shot, because action 3 is going to be the quest. 2, and I'll toss in the defend first. So we'll move there. 1, 2. Varian will take 2 damage. I'll take 2 damage back from that, going down to 4. And then for action 4, I don't want to finish the quest right now, because if I finish the quest now, I end up with an abomination on top of me, and Varian probably gets defeated by that, so I don't want to take a chance on that happening. So I think for action 4, I'm just going to move off to Amberpine Lodge so Varian can rest for the time being. So with that, that's the end of the turn. We need 2 cards from the player deck. First up is a 2-space travel that we needed badly, and our first stronghold. So we play this immediately. Place 1 stronghold on any space without a quest or stronghold. So let's move back up top to place this stronghold. The problem with our situation right now in terms of where we place this stronghold, actually we have 2 problems with where we place the stronghold. First, our quests are all scattered in the middle of nowhere right now. And second, we haven't really made much progress in terms of where we want these to go. So I think Varian is probably completing Utgard Keep in his next, I would say, 2 or 3 turns. So and actually, that whole region right now is very quiet, so I don't think we need a stronghold there. Looking at the rest of the board, though, we could definitely use a stronghold in the green region. So I think I'll put one in. So I think I'll put the first one at. Where do I want this one to go? Okay, the breach does have a connection into ICC. That's something I won't need until later in the game, but it could be worthwhile to do. Actually, I don't want to put this on the floor. Where did it? There it is. I think I honestly put this on the breach. That way I can get Thrall up there and try to chain lightning down some of that mess. With the abomination and all those ghouls up there. Plus, like I said, that'll give me a decent connection into ICC next, when that quest finally opens up for us. So we need 2 cards from the top of the deck. So first up, the Nexus gets another ghoul, as does Utgard Keep. So good thing we whirlwinded that all down. Then the abomination moves toward Tyrion up to the Temple of Storms. Speaking of which, it is Tyrion's turn. Action 1, actually free action, he's going to use one of the heal. Actually, let's zoom down to Tyrion to make our lives a little bit easier so we can actually see what he's doing. Action 1, Tyrion will move over to the Temple of Storms. Action 2, he'll fight. I'm probably going to need this 2-fist card in taking out the abomination. One, 2, 3. I could toss in the fist to clear everything out, and I think I will, just to make sure it's over and done with. So the abomination goes away, as do the ghouls. Tyrion still takes the 1 from the Lich King, though, so that'll bring him down to 2. But admittedly, that does free up Thrall's hand a little bit, so we can potentially... Actually, I'll leave the Dice Tower in shot. So we can potentially have him Chain Lightning somewhere else. We may still have him Chain Lightning into that mess, but At least I don't need to think about doing that right away. So actually I'll toss a heal as a free action to heal +1 because Tyrion is pretty low right now. So Tyrion is healing +1. 2 + 1 is 3, which brings Tyrion up to 5. And then action 3, he'll move down to the breach. Action 1 to Aldor, action 2 to fight, free to heal. Yep, okay. Action 3 to the breach, action 4 will fight. Wow. We'll obliterate everything with the 3 fists. And then the shield will actually be used for its intended purpose from Tyrion as we prevent the 1 damage from the Lich King. So that's very welcome there. And then we need 2 cards from the player deck, so Tyrion will find another Defend, which we've had Defends for days, and another Travel, which doesn't bring us up to hand size, so we'll have to keep... So we should be able to work with that, but we need 2 cards from the Scourge deck. We find Vengeance Landing gets a ghoul, along with Valgard. So Rivarian starts the game. Alright, that will do it for Tyrion. Now let's move down to Thrall. We're going to bring the Dice Tower back in shot because I'm ultimately planning on sending Thrall back into the Nexus after the turn's over. But action 1, he's going to start with a Chain Lightning, choosing Valiant's Keep, Warsong Hold, and the Nexus. We're not going to roll for Valiant's Keep because there's nobody there. Warsong Hold will roll for the ghoul there. Say that 5 times fast. Ghoul go bye-bye. And now for the Nexus. We take 1 out. Action 2, he's going to rest because he's at 3 health right now. If I send him in there at that state, he's just going to bite it. On the quest action, I mean. So he'll heal from 3 back up to 6. That was action 3. We'll toss a 2-space travel to move him up to the Nexus. And then action 4, he'll... do I want him to quest right now, or do I want to try to take out that ghoul first? I think I'm going to try to take out that ghoul first, actually. I can plan on having him quest on his next turn. We'll take him out. I just didn't want to take any extra damage when the quest is already doing 3 damage to me right off the top. So now we need 2 cards from the player deck. So first up we'll find a 2-fist fight and another heal. We'll discard a defense since that's bringing us up to hand size. And then 2 cards from the player deck we will find, or the Scourge deck. River's Heart gets a ghoul, as does the Breach right on top of Tyrion. Alright, that will do it for Thrall. Now let's move over to the other side of the board and Varian. The Dice Tower is in shot since it looks like since I'm thinking the plan for the turn, for Varian's turn, is going to call for it. Action 1 will move to Utgard Keep. Free action will pull the ghouls in once again. Action 2, he'll fight. We'll re-roll the shield. I like the 2 fists, but I want to see if I can get a third one to take the ghoul out. Nope. But I do block the damage that I take from it. Didn't mean to knock Varian's mini over. We'll toss a heal to heal it to rest as a free action for +1. Two plus 1 is 3, which is enough to bring Varian back to full strength. Let's see, that was a free action. I'm pretty sure quest action deals damage from the... Oh, enemies don't affect quest action, so never mind that. Okay, action 3, Varian will quest, though. There is a way the quest... We could complete Utgard Keep right here, potentially. But let's find out. Let's see, 1, 2... We'll come up 1 short, which I actually don't mind here completely. So we'll contribute a travel, and then we'll take the 2 fists to get down to where there's 1 progress left. Then Varian takes 2 damage back, goes to 5. And I'm going to leave the quest for next turn. And instead Varian's going to fight again, just to get rid of that last ghoul. The reason I'm not going to complete the quest now is because I don't want to get an abomination on there, where I'm just going to be guaranteed to take 2 free damage before I get a chance to react to it. Then we get rid of the ghoul. It was probably overkill, but like I said, I just didn't want to finish the quest now and leave Varian defenseless. So 2 cards from the player deck. We are 2, 4, 6. So we're going to hit hand size soon. Like now with a 1 fist fight and another Scourge Rises. So I did forget to mention at the start of the video, but I am playing on the normal difficulty today. Last time I played this, I played on the introductory difficulty. But that will do it for... But we need to move back up top to resolve the Scourge Rises. Alright, so we advanced the Scourge marker, which means now we are drawing 3 cards from the Scourge deck. Speaking of the Scourge deck, this location is going to get 3 ghouls and an abomination. Kolramus, which is actually not that far from Varian. And funnily enough, the abomination is actually going after Varian, but it's not as bad as spawning it on top of him from the quest, from finishing the quest in Utgard Keep would have been. Because at least Varian's only going to take 1 damage from it. Unless we can somehow get all the way over there and deal with it, which we actually might be able to do. We could actually get Tyrion over there to deal with it now if we wanted to, but let's see what happens when we go to draw Scourge cards, because we need 3 of them since we advanced on the Scourge track. So we find River's Heart gets another ghoul. Second location, the Breach gets a ghoul, as does Vengeance Landing. So we're not in any huge rush right now. Oh, that reminds me. The Lich King also should have moved into the region since we spawned a new abomination there. Speaking of the abomination, this one will move over to Varian. Glad I caught that. And then that's everything straightened out, so let's go down to Tyrion. The Abomination changes things, but it's not catastrophic. So we'll discard the 4 travel card to bring Tyrion 1, 2, 3, 4 to Kol Ramas. Then we'll bring the Dice Tower in shot. Action 1, he's going to fight the ghouls there. Two, and I think we're just going to take that as is. Tyrion can take 2 damage right now, which will bring him down. He'll be taking 1 from the remaining ghoul and 1 from the Lich King. So that'll bring him down to 3. We'll leave the Dice Tower in shot because action 2 he'll move down to the Grizzlemaw for the Abomination. Action 3 he'll fight it. And we'll toss the fist. We'll toss a fight card to get rid of the Abomination. And then Tyrion will take 1 damage, bringing him down to 2. And then action 4, he's going to rest. And heal for 2 damage, which will bring him back up to 4. So he's not in catastrophic shape, but he's a little more busted up than I would like. But nothing I can do about that now. 2 player cards from the deck. So first up we find another 4-space travel, which is very welcome, and a heal, which I will never say no to. So 3 cards from the Scourge deck we find Kol Ramas gets a ghoul, which we mostly cleared out. Utgard Keep gets a ghoul right on top of Varian. And the Nexus gets a ghoul right on top of Thrall. Speaking of Thrall, let's move over to the Nexus and see what he's doing. We'll start off by questing for action 1, see if we can make some progress on this Nexus quest. Two with a fight card either way, so 1, 2, 3. Thrall will take 3 damage back, going down to 3. Action 2, I think we'll go with Chain Lightning, selecting the Nexus, Warsong Hold, and River's Heart. So we'll roll a die for each one and take out the ghouls hopefully take out some of these ghouls. Alright, that gets rid of the ghoul on the Nexus. We'll skip Warsong Hold because there are no ghouls, and River's Heart. Gets rid of both of the ghouls there, so that's very nice. As a free action, we'll toss a heal so Thrall can rest and heal +1. Three plus 1 is 4, which very welcomely so brings Thrall back up to full strength. Let's see, action 1, quest, action 2, Chain Lightning, free heal, action 1, okay, wait a minute, action 1, quest, action 2, Chain Lightning, free heal, so action 3 is going to be action 3 is going to be another quest. Three, and we have Defense for Days that we can contribute, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Thrall will take another 3 damage back, going down to 4. And then he's actually got enough health that we can... Wait, he only takes 2 damage from that. I forgot we rolled a shield in there. So down to 5, and I could probably use a defend if I wanted to block all of it. Which I keep forgetting I've got Defense for Days, so action 4, let's run back the quest. All right, 1, 2, and we're currently on... We can actually contribute a travel, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll just take the 1 damage, so that'll bring him down to 4. And then that's all 4 of Thrall's actions, so we need 2 cards from the player deck. So here we'll find a one-fist fight, which is kind of welcome, and a stronghold. So let's move back up top to place this. Looking at our current board situation, the Nexus and Utgard Keep are about to complete, probably on Varian and Thrall's next turns respectively. So, and Ulduar is still a mess, but I'm probably going to end up having everybody jump on that quest. So I guess the question is, we've already got 1 direct connection into ICC, and I think Thrall and Varian are both at strength enough to take the hits from their respective quests. So I think we'll just worry about making Ulduar more accessible, and we'll place this one on the Terrace of the Makers. So we need 3 cards from the Scourge deck. We'll find Temple of Storms gets a Ghoul, which also opens up some Chain Lightning options with Thrall. Second card up. Vault of Archivon gets another Ghoul, which we might need to babysit that. And Valgard gets a Ghoul. Okay, so this play is probably going to look very familiar to a lot. We're probably going to make a very familiar play to this game with Varian, but we need to move down to Varian first. With 1 space to go on the quest, I think that's where Varian is going to start. And we've got a... What do we need? A fight card? Okay, we've got plenty of fight cards to get through that, so we should be fine here. Okay, yeah, we overkilled that. So we block 1 damage, but we block the Lich King's damage, but Varian still takes 2 either way, which will also spawn an Abomination on top of him since the quest is complete. But we do get the reward for that. So going into our hand, our first reward, Blessing of the Light. Anytime, either each hero heals 2 or 1 hero heals to full. Well, this would put us over our hand size, so I think this might be good to use now. And I think each hero will heal 2, so that'll bring Thrall up to 6, Varian up to 5, and Tyrion also will go up to 6. So we'll just go ahead and heal that now and be done with it. Then as a free action, Varian will pull the ghouls from Vengeance Landing and Valgard Keep in. So that was a free action. This is actual action 2. Varian will fight. This is going to look like a good candidate for both of the fight cards. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. We'll just toss them both. I'm not going to try to re-roll. I'd rather get everything off the board. But Varian does take 1 damage back from the Lich King, going down to 4. So that was action 2. Quest. Free action. Action 2 to fight. So this is action 3. What is Varian doing for action 3? Let's actually bring him... We're probably going to need all the muscle we can find on Ulduar. So let's actually stronghold him up to Terrace of the Makers for action 3. Then action 4... I don't think we really have an action 4 other than resting, I guess. Yeah, let's go ahead and rest with Varian. Actually... Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather send him in at full strength. Alright, so 1 plus 1 is 2 because we were healing on a stronghold. So Varian goes up to 6. And then we need 2 player cards from the deck, which we shouldn't be discarding. We're only at 4 cards, so yeah, we're fine. Card 1 is a 2-fist fight, which is always welcome, especially when we get surprise abominations on the board, and a 1-fist fight. So we basically get refunded the fight cards that we used to clear out Utgard Keep, which that can actually come off the board. So 3 cards from the Scourge deck we find. Gundrak gets another Ghoul. Card 2. Naxxramas gets another Ghoul. And card 3. Dalaran gets another Ghoul. So we've got another space there that we might need to go babysit. Tyrion's turn next, and I think Tyrion actually is going to go see about doing a little bit of babysitting on some of these 3 Ghoul spaces. So for action 1, he'll move to the Breach via a Stronghold action. Action 2, he'll come down to Dalaran. Action 3, Tyrion will fight. He won't be taking +1 damage because the Lich King isn't in his region. We could get rid of 2 ghouls. I think is actually fine. So Tyrion will take 1 damage back from the 1 ghoul still being alive, which will bring him down to 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. We can get Tyrion down there and babysit that as well. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll discard a travel card to move Tyrion. That's a 4-space travel, so he'll move 1, 2, 3 to Vault of Archivon, and then action 4, he'll fight there as well. Sorry if I'm still sniffling a little bit. I'm still. It seems like it's just the spring sniffles I'm always going to have at this point. Similar to what we had last turn, 2 ghouls, and Tyrion will take 1 damage back, which will bring him down to 4. But we're not in any kind of danger there, so 2 cards from the deck. Tyrion will find another Stronghold, which will move back up top to place, and the Scourge rises. Well, good thing we're moving back up top. So the only consolation here is we get the Stronghold first. I've got 2 strongholds already up around Ulduar, and the Breach has a direct connection into ICC. So with this last stronghold, I want to try to make a connection to ICC, but also in a space where I can kind of babysit a little bit of our dangerous locations. So looking here, I think it's actually pretty well spread out right now, but the board's actually quiet for the time being, so I think we're going to go ahead and place around the red region. I'm going to put this last stronghold down. I feel like I want it down here around the Wrathgate, because we've been doing a fair amount of spawning kind of around the middle of the board, not so much to the edges. And while we've been spawning on the edges, we've actually been doing a pretty good job of keeping under control. So that's the Stronghold. Now we have the Scourge Rises. So we'll advance the Scourge track by 1, and we'll draw the bottom card of the Scourge deck. 3 ghouls and an abomination are going to the Terrace of the Makers. That's going to be fun. Which is right on top of Varian. Oh joy. Which means Varian, despite our best efforts, well, He'll survive it, but he won't be very happy about it. We might actually need to bring Thrall up to try to help him out with that, but we have quite a few problems on our hands right now, mainly around the green space of the board, around the green region. That's our third of 6 Scourge Rises. Hopefully we won't get those at an inopportune time, but our first card up. Temple of Storms gets a Ghoul. Next up, Dalaran gets a Ghoul. And our last card, the Vault of Archivon gets a Ghoul right on top of Tyrion. And then we have Activate the Abomination. Varian takes 1, going down to 5. And then it's Thrall's turn now, so let's move down to Thrall. Barring a total catastrophe, Thrall can clear the Nexus right now. So let's see what happens. I would call that not a total catastrophe, and we didn't even need the card for it. So we'll actually discard a 2 damage defend, so we don't have to take any damage from the quest. But we do clear the Nexus out as well. So we get our reward from that, which means we get new allies. Anytime current player takes up to 2 cards from the hero discard into their hand. Ooh. Okay. Alright, so that was Thrall's action 1, was to complete that quest. Action 2, Varian needs some help badly over at the Terrace of the Makers, so what say we head over in that general direction and see what we can do. I also had to change my battery out, but the Terrace of the Makers right now is quite a happening space right now. So that was action 2 to bring Thrall over there. Action 3, he'll fight, and we've got fight cards that we can toss if we need to. We can always get them back. One, two. Let's go 3, 4, 5. We'll toss both fight cards. Take out the Abomination and 2 of the Ghouls. Thrall will take 1 back, which will bring him down to 5. I don't mind that too much. And then for action 4, that should be there. For action 4, Thrall's going to Chain Lightning, targeting Terrace of the Makers, Temple of Storms, and the Breach. So we'll grab one of these dice. We'll take out the Ghoul at the Terrace of the Makers, then up at the Temple of Storms. One of those goes away. Tip that back up, and then over to the Breach. None of those go away. That's unfortunate. Alright, so action 1 to quest, Stronghold, Fight, Chain Lightning. Okay, so Thrall has used all 4 of his actions, which means these can move over to the supply, and we need 2 player cards. What did I do with the other one of the black dice? Put it behind my laser pointer. All right, now that we got that straight, 2 cards from the player deck for Thrall. 2 space travel, and another heal. So that's handy to have. And then we need 3 cards from the Scourge deck. So first up we find Gundrak gets another Ghoul, which might need to get babysat. I've been ignoring Gundrak all game. Space 2. Vengeance Landing gets a Ghoul. And River's Heart gets a ghoul. Alright, no abominations to move, so we're all fine there. Varian is going to discard the 2-space travel as a free action to move over to Gundrak. We'll bring the Dice Tower in shot because action 1 he's going to fight. We'll re-roll this die. Two and the shield blocks 1, so that'll work. Then action 2 will bring Varian back to Terrace of the Makers via a stronghold action. Action 3 he'll go up to Ulduar, and then action 4 he'll quest. And since Thrall's here, we can actually contribute 2 cards toward the quest. But we lose one of our rolled fists when we roll through that. So we need right now... we need to get to that defend space if we can. Which 2 will not quite do. What are we on right now? Travel, I think. Yep. Okay, so 2... and then we'll defend 1 of the damage, but Varian will still take 1 back, which will bring him down to 4. And then that's all 4 of Varian's actions, so... actually, I could use new allies to get one of those, get a travel back, but 2 cards from the deck we will find. Another defend, that's a 2 damage defend, and... a 4-space travel, which we could have used like 10 seconds ago. But 3 cards from the Scourge deck. The Nexus gets a ghoul. Utgard Keep gets a ghoul. And Terrace of the Makers gets a ghoul right on top of Thrall. Down to Tyrion's turn now. And with nothing really getting ready to blow up, I think we just make some progress on Ulduar here. So action 1, Tyrion will join Thrall at the Terrace of the Makers. Action 2 will take Tyrion up to Ulduar. Action 3, we need the Dice Tower in shot because Tyrion's going to quest. And now we can contribute 3 cards total because Tyrion, Varian, and Thrall's special ability lets him contribute as well. The Lich King actually should have been in... right, he should have been in... he spawned there, so yeah, the Lich King should have been in... should have been in the green region, which means... Varian should have taken an extra damage? Yes, Varian should have taken an extra damage. So down to 3. Thrall should have taken a damage as well. Alright, now that we've got that straight, still the same situation of contributing 3 cards. Alright, so 2 fists, which means we get to make progress. So we'll start off with 1, 2... then we'll chip in a defend. Actually, we'll chip in 2 defends to make 2 more progress. Actually, hold on. So we're here, and I forgot Ulduar cancels 1 rolled fist. So we cancel that. We'll move 1 for the fist. Then we'll chip in, I think it's 3 defends. So 1, 2, oh no, we need the fight to move up to the next one, so never mind that. Tyrion will actually take 3 damage back from that, bringing him down to 1. So as a free action, he's going to toss a heal to do a bit of healing. So he'll rest +1. 2 plus 1 is 3, which brings him to 4. We'll use new allies as well to get 2 cards back from the discard. We'll take... What do we want? We'll take a 2-fist fight back. And I think we'll grab a heal back as well, because I have a feeling we're going to need that. Do I want to have Tyrion quest again, then? Yeah, I think I do, actually. Action 4, Tyrion will quest. Again. Okay, so same situation we were in before. So we cancel a fist. We'll contribute a defend from Tyrion to move forward, then a fight from Varian, and I don't think Thrall can contribute the same fight as well. Let me just look at that on... Nope. We wouldn't be able to contribute that again. So Tyrion will take another 3 damage, which will bring him right back down to 1, but that's his last action. So 2 cards from the deck we will find. A defend, that's a 2 damage defend. Is there anything bigger than that? No, so that's discard fodder. And heal, which is right now not discard fodder. We'll just dump another defend. And then 3 cards from the Scourge deck. First up, Valgard gets a ghoul. Second up, Naxxramas gets a ghoul. And good lord, you don't want to focus today, do you? The Breach gets a ghoul. So that's going to need to get babysat pretty quick here. Fortunately, it's Thrall's turn, and I think he's going to. So action 1, he's going to move up to the Temple of Storms. Action 2, he'll start with Chain Lightning. He'll go Temple of Storms, then down to the Breach, then Dalaran. So we need the Dice Tower. We'll put that here, and I'll adjust the camera just slightly. I'll point out again, Temple of Storms, then down to the Breach, then Dalaran. That's where we're going. Alright, the Temple of Storms ghoul is gone. Let's see if we can get that roll again for the Breach. I hope so. No, we can't. That's a problem. Which means Thrall's probably going to have to go in and fight it, and then Dalaran. We get rid of a ghoul from Dalaran. Alright, so that was action 2 for Thrall. Action 3, he will move down to the Breach, and action 4, he will fight. Like I said, I probably have to toss that 2 fight card. I don't want to have to, but I want to try to keep the ghouls somewhat under control if I can. Let's see, 2, and I can discard a defend to not take any damage from that. So we'll discard the defend, get rid of 2 ghouls, and then not take any damage. We take 1 from the ghoul and 1 from the Lich King, but we don't take any because of the defend. And then 2 cards from the hero deck we find. Another defend that we just used, so 5, 6, 7, we're back at max hand size, and another defend, which we can discard that. 3 cards from the from the Scourge deck. Why do I keep calling this the hero deck? Kharazim gets a ghoul, which is another space that's going to need to be babysat here soon. Draktheron Keep. And Shadow Vault. A couple of disaster spaces, but let's see what we can do about those. Varian. Move to 4 spaces for an Ulduar. Crud. Alright, well, I'm going to have to start with a free heal. Because Varian needs to rest. Well, Varian doesn't need to rest as bad as Tyrion does, but Varian's a little lower than I want him right now, especially no matter what we're getting ready to do. Three plus 1 is 4, so that brings Varian back up to full strength. Let's see, can we cancel a fist and then clear this quest? If we roll 3 like that, then yes, we can. The question is, do we try it? Because that would bring us into ICC, and then we'd have to race, basically. We have made exactly no progress. We've actually kept the despair track right at the top of the track, so a race strategy might not be the worst thought in the world. So we're going to go ahead and have Varian Quest. We do have a chance of clearing this if everything aligns just right. Okay, that works. So we cancel one of those fists. Actually, I think we just clear it. Yeah, we contribute the fight card, and then we take the 3 fists from the roll and clear it naturally. So Varian does take 3 damage back, which means that one's cleared as well. Move that over there for a second. Then we get the reward card, which will put us back to max hand size, so we'll find 1 quiet night. Anytime, skip spawn ghouls and activate abominations this turn. Okay, so that also gives us access to the Icecrown Citadel quest. So we'll just actually zoom back out so we can see what all happens there. Which means Icecrown Citadel, we get the Frozen Throne. The Lich King moves there. And our last quest is a beast, as we can see, so we'll end up taking 3 damage back from that. Starting up there. Let's see. Alright, so we are not in any real danger at all. So now that that's no longer a quest zone, let's see. So I just want to look what happens when you complete a quest, but I'm pretty sure that no longer becomes a quest space, so now we can rest there. Then return the quest sheet, progress marker, and quest marker to the box. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we'd be able to rest on Ulduar. So now we've got some decisions to make. We can take a couple of overruns. Varian's got, let's see, quest, rest. Actually, I think Varian had to quest twice. Yeah, I'm going to rule that I think Varian had to quest twice on the space. So I think now a rest is a very welcome idea. An actual action rest now is a welcome idea. So we'll have Varian rest. Healing for 2 health, which brings him up to 6. That's action 3, and action 4 will move him down to the breach and plan on getting a jump into ICC next turn. So we need 2 cards from the player deck. We find a travel and another fight, which we are actually going to have to discard. Let's dump the 2-space travel. And do I want to use One Quiet Night now? We could definitely use a head start getting into... We could definitely use a head start. So yeah, I think I'm going to use One Quiet Night now. So we'll skip spawning ghouls and activating abominations this turn. So Tyrion will actually stronghold action down to the breach for action 1. Action 2, actually free action before he does anything else. He's going to heal. He's going to discard that as a free action to heal. So he's healing +2 because he's using a card and he's on a stronghold space. 2 + 2 is 4, so that brings him up to 5. Let's see, action 3. Stronghold action 1, okay. That was a free action to heal. Action 2, he'll move into Icecrown Citadel. Action 3, he'll quest. Two plus what do we need right now to advance? A fist, so 3 damage. So 3 progress there. Tyrion does take 3 damage back, bringing him down to 2. And then action 4, he'll move down to the Wrathgate. We're going to plan on hit and run, on doing a hit and run strategy on clearing that quest out. So we'll bump in, quest, bump out, rest is kind of going to be the idea. So 2 cards from the player deck we will find. Scourge Rises, which I'll have to move back up top to resolve, and a one-fist fight, which we can keep. So anyway, let's move back up top to resolve the Scourge Rises. Filling this space to 3 ghouls and an abomination, we find Valiant's Keep. Give this a quick shuffle. Right, and a cut. And now we need 3 ghouls, and now we need 3 cards from the Scourge deck. Dractheron Keep gets a ghoul. Next, Vault of Archivon gets a ghoul. And Valgard gets a ghoul, and then the abomination moves toward Tyrion. Now that will bring us back up to Thrall. We've got Thrall up in the very tippy top of the shot. I think I can get the laser pointer on him right there. Action 1, he's going to start with a Stronghold action to move down to the Wrathgate. Action 2, he'll move to Ajol Narub. Action 3, Chain Lightning, targeting Ajol Narub, Vault of Archivon, and Valiant's Keep. Oh, we need 1 die for that, and I prefer not to drop them on the floor. So starting off with Ajol Narub. Getting rid of a ghoul there, it's hidden in the back behind the abomination. Then going to the Vault of Archivon. Gets rid of a ghoul there. And then moving to Valiant's Keep. Had the Dice Tower up just out of shot. Don't get rid of anything from Valiant's Keep. That's unfortunate. Actually, I'm going to leave that there. because action 3 is going to be to fight at Ajol Narub, trying to get rid of the abomination there. Two, and we'll toss a 1 fight card to get rid of it. So the abomination's gone, which means Tyrion and actually Thrall now are both out of danger. Then action 4 will move up to the Wrathgate. Then we need 2 cards out of the player deck. Card 1 is a 2-space travel, which will hit us at our hand limit, so we will have to discard after this. And a 1-fist fight. Let's discard the 1-fist fight that we just drew. Then 3 cards from the Scourge deck we find the Shadow Vault, which will actually be our first overrun, so that will advance us down the Despair track for the first time all game, and Gundrak, which gets a Ghoul, which would have been a danger space, but we've actually been keeping the ghouls pretty well under control in this game. I'm also taking kind of a calculated risk that we'll be able to race fairly quickly, especially with currently only 3 spaces that are in danger of blowing up. But we're into Varian's turn next. At 6 health, he's going to jump into ICC as well. Action 2, I'm going to put the Dice Tower down here so I can quest. We might even be able to block some damage and keep Varian in there for a couple actions. Let's see, 1, we do have a travel to chip in, so I'll do that. So 2, shield. Actually, Varian only takes 1 damage, so even naturally we could keep him in there for another action, and I think we will to quest. 2, and we can chip in a heal to continue making progress, which will be another 3 damage, unless I want to toss a defend and take 1. We're actually going into defend right now, so I think we will toss a defend and take 1 damage. Varian won't die from this, but we could use him to get some good progress on the quest, which action 4 will consist of. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, defend 4 to contribute to the quest. Then we'll take 2 damage and plan on having Varian dip out on his next turn. But that's it for Varian's turn, and we actually made some significant progress on the ICC quest. So we need 2 cards from the player deck. Varian will find a heal, which is always welcome, and a 1-fist fight, which puts us at hand limit, so we'll discard that. And then we need 3 cards from the Scourge deck. We will find Dalaran gets a Ghoul. Kolramas also causes an overrun, which advances us down the Despair track, and the Breach gets a Ghoul, which is not in danger of causing an overrun. Then we'd activate Abominations, but we have none on the board, so we just go to Tyrion's turn. I think first thing Tyrion needs to do badly is he's actually going to toss he's going to use a free action as a heal to heal +2. Because he's on a stronghold right now as well. One plus 2 is 3, so that brings Tyrion up to 5. Then for action 1, Tyrion's going to join Varian and ICC. Action 2, he's going to quest. Three, plus we can use 2 cards toward this. So we'll take the fists first. 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, let's do it this way. Tyrion will use a travel first to get up there, then 1, 2, 3, and Varian will use a heal. The Lich King will do 1. We don't need to defend anymore, so we'll use that to prevent all of the damage for action from that quest action. Reaction to rest. Action 1, move in. Action 2, quest. Action 3, we'll quest again, and there's a chance we can just end the game here. It's going to depend on the roll, though. That won't do it, though. So we'll use a heal, and then a fight. Then we'll take the 1 fist. I think we probably are just ending the game on... We're probably just going to win the game on Thrall's next turn, honestly. So shield, and then Tyrion will take 2, which will bring him down to 3. And that should have been all 4 of Tyrion's actions. So, free action was to heal, move, quest. I think quest? I think we have 1 more action left, actually. So Tyrion is going to dip out to the Wrathgate. So we need 2 more player cards from the deck. Tyrion will find a 1-fist fight and another 1-fist fight. 3 cards from the Scourge deck. I don't think anything here stops us right now. Terrace of the Makers gets a ghoul. Valiant's Keep gets a ghoul, which actually causes an overrun. We're only halfway down the Despair track, but for as well as we've been keeping that under control all game, that's not a big problem right now. And the Nexus gets a ghoul. Alright, moving up to Thrall's turn. He's going to move in for action 1. Action 2, he's going to quest, and like I said, I think we're just winning the game right here no matter what happens. Because we've got more than enough fight cards to chip into this, so I'll just go ahead and roll it out. Yeah, we don't even need the cards. Thrall would take 3 damage back, but that would only bring him down to 1. So we have actually managed to win the game because we completed the last quest for ICC. So let's move back up top to wrap this video up. That will do it for this playthrough of World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King Pandemic. More to come on this in the end of March recap, but Pandemic for me is a very, what's the word I want? Themey series, I guess. What I mean by that is I tend to look a little bit harder at the theme of a pandemic system game before I decide if I'm going to pick it up. Now, I do like the theme of this one, but the replayability to me just really isn't there, and I think that's part of the larger problem I have with a lot of the MMORPGs that I've played, is you basically rush to get to wherever the main experience is, whether it's endgame in WoW or even I think the leveling experience in Star Wars The Old Republic is better, but I'm getting off track there. This one I just don't think this one has the replayability to it. I mean, sure, it's got the extra difficulties to it, but as you've seen in my 2 playthroughs where I've won this game, I believe there's only 1 more character left besides the ones I've won with, because my last victorious playthrough was Jaina, Liadrin, and Sylvanas. And there's Murid and Bronzebeard left in the box as well. The quest combinations all might be a little bit different, but largely, I think this game feels samey, and this one This one's a real theme one. I mostly got this one for the trip down memory lane because I played a lot of World of Warcraft over the years, and my favorite expansion was Wrath of the Lich King, so it's got a great nostalgia feeling to it, but otherwise, I don't know. Like I said, I just don't think the replayability is there on this one. But, like I said, that will do it for this playthrough of World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King Pandemic. Pandemic month is also over at this point. So Wednesday, we're stepping back into the background campaign for Hero Realms. And while we're on the subject of campaigns, it's actually time for the spring campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. We'll have the campaign intro on Friday, and all I'll say about that is this is really going to be kind of a learning-centric campaign. So for a lot of the new players in the card game, this one I'm really going to be in the weeds on, trying to explain everything that's going on. Because I want this to be a learning campaign to help people who are new to the game kind of see everything and make a lot more sense of it. But we'll have the first scenario next week for the spring campaign, but I'll announce that when the campaign intro comes out. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.